Recording. Hey everyone, this is OotiniCast episode 420. Yes, 420. Someone's going to say nice when they hear that. Nice. And we are about to get going here in a few minutes. We're starting a little bit early, but the actual podcast will start at the top of the hour. Again, this is episode 420, being recorded on the 17th of August, 2021. Kitty's with me, and we'll get going in just a sec. And I'll text this out and all that stuff. Let me get my chat. My chat's not really where I want it to be. I'm also going to... Okay.
Let's put some kitty.
Test. Yeah, that looks fine. All right, I'm going to tweet this out. It is recording as well. Yeah, good. Because if I don't record it, it makes it really hard to get it onto YouTube. Hey, No Face, how's it going? All right, so...
Pooped out, huh? Yeah, I'm pooped too. I've been up since 4 a.m.
Was that because of work or?
Yeah.
Did you have a shift today?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I work. My busy days now are Monday and Tuesdays.
Okay.
Which is good. That's what I wanted.
Okay. Yeah, and does that mean OotiniCast is still okay to do on Tuesdays? Because we could move it around, although I'd rather,
No, we're good.
Okay, cool.
I think leaving it where it's at is the best.
Excellent. That's all good.
That's what meth's for, chill.
That's about right.
Actually,
Speaking of 420, right?
What's it called?
It's almost 1 a.m. and you got up at 5:30. Oof, that's rough, No Face. That is rough.
G Fuel.
Unfortunately, I'm still trying to lose weight, and it's not coming off very fast.
I
am going to the gym. I am going to the gym every day. My wife comes with me. We throw the weights around for a little bit, and we usually do 20 to 30 minutes on the aerobic machines as well. And It's definitely helping. I mean, I complain, but I'm definitely noticed that, some of my muscle tone has come back, and, I just feel a little better in certain little ways. But yeah, the actual weight coming off is not happening so well. So I'm going to probably have to
convert into muscle. And once you do start seeing a difference,
hopefully,
that's when that's when
hopefully,
like, oh, hey.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
cut to you and your tidy whities flexing in front of the wife.
Yeah. Oh wow, I haven't had tidy whities since somewhere in the mid '90s, I think.
Yeah, I switched to boxers in what was I think I was when I was 13 or 14. I don't know why. I think I got a pair of boxers, and then I was like, okay, this is it. I want boxers for the rest of my life. And then several years ago, I switched to boxer briefs.
That's what I've used, yeah.
I love it. And then I got
They're very comfortable
new ones that are like the micro fabric. Have you gotten those?
I know the one you're talking about. I've had a shirt in that before. It's really comfortable
I know what
stuff.
Someone's getting for Christmas.
Yeah, good stuff.
Get you a pack of undies.
Yeah. That's funny. Yep.
Hey, Tsunami.
Hey, Tsunami. Yeah. And let's see. So, yeah, looks like we've both been pretty busy, obviously, with SWTOR. We don't want to go too hard on it right now because we're going to be starting the show here in a couple of minutes, but that's good. I don't know about... We'll have to talk about I think you did mention it, didn't you? In your show notes here.
The fort?
Or the end of the nightlife event. Yeah, the nightlife event. We got to talk about that. I tried so hard to get everything I wanted out of that one. I just couldn't get the one thing.
Okay, I got questions for you then.
Okay, good. I like that event, though. Actually, for me, the best part was I was leveling and am leveling a character through PvP only. And because I'm avoiding doing like the class story or anything else, there's not really anything for her to do between pops. So it makes it kind of boring. And I'm at the Nightlife event, I was able to, stream the Warzone. Then we'd go out and we'd just ding around with at least to give me something to do and something visually a little more interesting than just standing on the fleet or in my stronghold, just maybe throwing a few gifts out. So
jumping up and down and running around in
there's not a whole hell of a lot to do. But yeah. Let's see.
Hey, Gaversoul.
Gaversoul, I have no idea which list that is. So I'm going to say definite. I'm going to put that down as a definite maybe.
The definite maybe. Oh man, I found this.
Get this set up a little better. There we go.
This YouTube channel, and this guy goes over very detailed documentaries of the Wild West, and I'm addicted to it. I love it.
Shot a man for snoring too loud. That sounds awesome. Right. It's an old reference. I don't know anyone who would get that reference. Oh, you do know. You do remember the reference. Yeah, that's from the Time Life. That's from the Time Life series of books.
My grandma had those books, and I always look at them.
I always, they're hard not to look at because there's tons of pictures. Mm-hmm. Like it was written at sort of a pretty basic level, not like insultingly basic, but they were going for like a wide audience. Mm-hmm. And lots of great stories. I have no idea how accurate they were. They were probably full of bullshit. Yeah. My guess, thinking back on it, it's like, it was a little too like good. It was like too juicy. Like all those, like there was like the whole mythological series. There's like, they were all really juicy. So it's like, I'm sure there was just laden with bullshit.
Yeah. I know that, things are being updated, even though it was a long time ago, with things being found, revealing photos, finding, just shit comes up.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting. But yeah, those books, and they're made out of leather. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was like fake leather. Like plastic leather. Well, yeah, there was a give to them. Yeah, they were a little, which was kind of cool. Cool.
Made them feel like they're from the West.
Yeah, and then the mythological ones had like a fabric sort of cover to them.
Yeah, they only
had several of those too. Personally, I owned several of those.
They had the gunfighters.
They had like a World War II series.
What was the other one?
World War II series.
They didn't have the World War II series. All they had was, I think they had maybe 3 or 4 of the West ones. They didn't have any of the other ones.
Right. Yeah.
They had
a lot of series.
Had Cannonball Run, and those were the 2 things I always did.
The movie.
When
they had like a tape of Cannonball Run and a VCR just to play Cannonball Run.
Yeah, and I'd watch Cannonball Run every time I go over there, and then I would look at the cowboy books because there was nothing to do over there.
Right.
And they lived in a trailer park for seniors.
Ah.
So we could, every once in a while we could go over there and go swimming, but they had a cutoff. They're like, kids can only swim from this time to this time.
Right.
And I remember a kid being like, oh man. Kids never get a break, man. Well, I want to swim. The old people aren't even going underwater.
Right. Hey, Domino. All right. I think it's the top of the hour. Let's get this going.
Let's do it.
All righty.
I haven't thought about those books in forever.
Yeah, I know. That one phrase, though, is always stuck in my head from their TV ad.
So mean, he shot a man for snoring.
Just for snoring too loud. Yep.
And it showed the saloon windows, and then the bullet hole would go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find that.
Oh, that's got to be on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah,
for sure. Someone's put that up for sure, 100%. Because they were really well known. And that sort of humor is right up my alley. I love referential humor because I don't know before that. I mean, I liked, you know, the spoofs that Mel Brooks did back in the day and stuff like that. But it wasn't until Mystery Science Theater 3000 came out that I really understood like how much I like referential humor. Anyway, funny. I'm still a fan of them. I like riff tracks pretty well. Although I haven't dug too deep into them. It's the same guys. Riff tracks. So it's the same guys as MST3K plus a few other people, but basically the same guys and gals, because some of the gals from MST3K are on there too. And what they do is it's like MST3K, only it's audio only, at least, you know, but they can do modern movies because they're actually not providing the actual movie. There's no copyright issue because all it is a soundtrack that happens to be the length of the movie, happens to reference the movie, but doesn't include any of the movie, so there's no copyright issue. And so you watch the movie, you put on the audio, and you listen to them make fun of the movie along with it. Okay, it's very slick, very slick. And so, but it's the same, and that way, because that was always the issue with MST3K, is because they were doing a show with the actual movie being shown and them there and everything else. But the movie was actually being shown, so if it was a copyrighted movie, which some of them were, some of them weren't, but a lot of them were, and then like getting the extra rights to put them out on VHS tape or DVD or any of those things was just a nightmare. And for years they were really slow in putting out any VHS tapes or any other like official ones because copyright issues. So it was like they were early YouTubers basically.
That's funny. All
right, No Face, have a good one.
Toodles, Mr. No Face. Way back in the day with the first podcast I ever did, the Hideous Creature Show, we did that with Beastmaster. And I didn't even know. So what we did is we're like, okay, everybody, we're on the starting, you know, this is where we're at in the movie. And we had the VHS in there. And we're like, all right, let's go. And we did it. It was terrible. We got so drunk. It just I didn't even publish it. I'm like, this has never seen the light of day. We were way too drunk.
Yeah. Back in the day, actually, T.O., Hypnotoad, and I did OotiniCast like MST3K on the holiday special, Star Wars holiday special. It's out there somewhere. I have no idea where it is actually right now, but it's out there somewhere. I don't think we did a particularly good job, but it was fun to try. It was fun to try. It was mostly us like groaning over how bad it was.
Oh, I can't watch the whole thing.
It's really rough.
It's terrible. All right. Anyway.
All right. Okay, let me get going here. Going in 5. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast. You want to buy some death sticks? This is episode 420, being recorded on Tuesday, August 17th, 2021. I'm your host, Chill, and with me is my co-host, KittyKissz. How you doing, Kitty?
I'm doing great, Chill. Thanks.
All right, no guests today. It's just the two of us. Let's roll right into it. What you been up to since the last show?
I've been doing lots of streaming, of course. I am less than 100 away from 2,000 followers.
Nice.
And that's very exciting.
Whoop, whoop. That is exciting.
And once I get to 2,000 followers, I'm going to do a 12-hour stream.
Whoa, okay. Everyone go follow Kitty then.
Yeah. So
you'll commit to it, then you just have to figure out when you'll do it and so on. Exactly Obviously, It has to be on like a day off, or else you're just going to go nuts.
And I'll probably do it on a Saturday. I mean, Saturday just seems like the right way to do it.
Yeah, that way the most people can also join in on the fun at some point during the day at least.
Exactly. So I've got some ideas of some stuff, and then just playing SWTOR, and I don't know. That's a long time. People have said, hey, do a 24-hour stream. I'm like, no.
That's really rough.
No way. Have you ever done it?
No, I have not. And I don't think I could. No, the longest one I did was pretty early on. It was something like 9.5 hours. Even that was like long. If like at the end, But I was just, and that one wasn't really planned. I was just enjoying things too much, and I just kept going. And I even remember thinking like, oh, okay, I've gone a long time, but you know what? I'm having fun. Let's keep going, and let's just push it a little while. And then it ended up being like 9.5 hours, and it's like, oh wow. But yeah, any more than that is like, and even that much was like a lot.
Wait a minute, what? Oh, it's been 9.5.
Yeah, exactly. It's really rough, but it should be a lot of fun though. I'm sure you'll be able to. The time will fly by.
Yeah,
regardless.
I've got some. Marcus told me some pointers. And I'll talk to some other streamers that have done it and be like, get as much data as I can in order to make it, doable. Because I am not beneath saying, screw it, I'm done. Once I hit 9 hours.
Yeah, you'll have to make it right. You have to make it very public so that you have that peer pressure on you to keep it.
That's the only way I'll do it.
Yeah.
The weather, as you know, has been really hot in Portland.
Yeah, it's finally gotten a little better today, but we had like a whole week of anywhere from 90 to 100 to 103 or something like that one day, a couple of days. It was really nasty.
So, and my poor little tiny AC just doesn't do the job.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a gaming fort. And what I did is I took a bunch of blankets and I made my room half the size so that the air conditioner would keep up.
Right.
And it worked.
Nice.
It worked really well. I was still, it still gets really warm up here because the insulation is crap.
Yeah, you're playing upstairs in like an older style house with kind of meh, protection against the temperature changes.
But it worked.
That's great.
Oh man, this is great.
This is smart.
So I'm actually going to get
bed tent.
Drapes.
You need a bed tent.
I know, right? I'm going to get some drapes and some curtain rods, and I'm actually going to make it a permanent thing.
Nice.
Because I thought, well, crap, why don't I do that in the wintertime? And then I only have to heat half of my room.
Yeah.
Saving some money.
Absolutely, because you get a little bitty, one of those little small space heaters. You probably already have one, and
I got like a radiator looking one. Those that are filled with oil. Those things work so good.
And you can turn. Ooh, okay. So it actually burns oil. That one.
No. It's filled with oil.
Huh.
Like
I see. It uses oil
in it and then
to radiate heat. Okay, right, so exactly. it heats up the oil, and the oil is radiating the heat, but it's not burning oil.
Like a radiator. It looks like
cool.
Something you'd see in a New York apartment.
Yeah.
They're great. So I'm gonna get
that's smart.
Picking out drapes and all kinds of crap. So I'm very excited about that. And it looks like a fort. Like I can walk through. The cat is like tearing ass. He hides on one side, and then all of a sudden he just runs in as fast as he can, and he's already picked up max speed from the other side, and I can't see him, and all of a sudden, boom, out from behind the curtain, the cat's Mach 10ing it through this other area. It's great. Another thing, I started a new Sentinel. I've got a Lana Boniko cosplay character.
They are fun, yeah.
Her name is Kitty Boniko, and this is your fault.
Yeah.
Because I want Lana on Lana action. I want it from my point of view. That's the whole thing.
That's the whole idea, huh?
I made her a Sentinel.
That's awesome.
And
right. I mean, if you're gonna do anything not on the Empire side, it makes sense to be the Sentinel.
Yeah. And so with the story decisions, she's starting off kind of an idealistic, optimistic Jedi. And then through the storyline, we're going to arc her into Sith. Making dark side choices. Like, she's very attached to Nadia, so whenever Nadia is in danger, we'll kill them.
Right.
Kill the hell out of whoever's hurting her. So she started making these dark side decisions, and it's super fun. Because there are times when I'm like, oh yeah, let's go dark side on this decision, but I don't, because I'm like, okay, let's keep with it. But when those dark decisions are made, because they're so kind of few and far between, it's super fun. It's
Yeah,
just
it
like,
feels
that's brutal.
right because it
No,
feels
it's
more
great.
has some more gravitas to it. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
nice.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, and of course, she's going to end up dating Lana, and
Right.
what Lana says, Lana does, and what Lana says, Lana does.
Right. Of course,
So
it's going to be it'll be a little later than it would have if you were on the Empire side, because when you're doing Prelude to Shadow of Revan, you're doing everything through Theron because you're on the Republic side. So you'll meet Lana, but you won't really. There's a little bit of romancing, I think, on Rishi, but yeah. There won't be much flirtation until a little bit later, but that's all right.
I'm looking very forward to it. It's going to be
nice.
good, and especially once she starts getting into those dark side choices, it's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
Especially once she gets, kind of falls for Lana, then it's anything to save Lana, and we all know there's some really good dark side choices if you want to play it that way. I've got 6 more levels until I hit level 100 in Galactic Seasons.
Wow, you've been really cranking right along then.
Actually,
you're ahead of me.
There was a couple weeks where I didn't do anything.
Wow.
I just been going laid back, and if I want to do it, I do it. And that was kind of my experiment for this whole first season of Galactic Seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, if I feel like doing it, I'm going to do it. If it's fun, then I'm just going to do it. And if it's not, then I won't touch it. And I'm already, this far along, and we've got another month?
Yeah, I looked it up the other day. It's September 28th, so we still have a month and 2 weeks-ish.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So that kind of works out perfect for my play style. I don't feel like I had to do anything. Mm-hmm. I just was like, And I thought, well, worst case scenario, I'll just pay it out, at the end.
Right.
So I just hope that I don't feel, what if I, like, from now on, I'm just like, I'm not in the mood until the
end. Pay.
Yeah, that's right. And I've been having fun with PvP. I really got into Galactic Starfighter, but I just haven't been feeling it, so I haven't touched that. And it's fun. I've been having a blast. I like it. I can't wait to see what tweaks they do with season 2. And we haven't heard anything. But
no, there hasn't been any indication. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing it because I think that they're going to make it better. I think that they're going to tweak it and make it better. Kind of like what they did with guild levels. They kind of tweaked it a little bit, fine-ited the numbers, and make it streamlined.
I think the one thing we know about season 2 is that they did mention that it is coming out after the expansion, so it's going to be, whenever the expansion drops, it's going to be shortly after that, presumably. So sometime December, maybe January, don't know. But
3 months, 4 months off.
Yeah, and that's which kind of tracks with what they were generally saying when Galactic Seasons was in pre-release form, and they were talking about how future seasons will come out, but they won't be right on top of each other. There'll be a little gap in between. So makes sense.
It's going to give us enough time to miss it.
Kind of.
I think is perfect.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. I like it.
Yeah.
Nightlife event. This year I haven't really done much on the nightlife event. Okay. Usually I hit it really hard for one day and I get everything. I've always been lucky with that, with the nightlife event. This year I did the one day, didn't get anything, and then just kind of was like, I don't want to stream me sitting in front of a slot machine. So, I was just like, kind of put it off. But the other day, there were some people that were playing it and they were in chat and they kept, I win. One person's like, hey, I got this. Oh, I got this. And I was like, all right. I went over there and I had like 20 of the Emperor's tokens.
Sure.
And the only thing I really wanted this year was the Gonk droid with the claw game.
Yeah.
And I got it.
Nice.
So, of course, as soon as I got them, I'm like, okay, let's try and get those glasses. But I never got them. But, I got the Gonk droid. That counts. And I love Gonk droids. So, and having one that's kind of very unique, it really appealed to me. So I got the Gonk droid. finished watching the last episode of Bad Batch.
Mm-hmm.
We could talk about that later.
Yep.
If you want.
I have a spot and then show notes for it later on, so that'll be good.
And then I guested on Working Class Nerds podcast
Nice.
to discuss the High Republic book, The Rising Storm.
Ooh,
but
okay.
there were technical difficulties, so we only got like halfway through.
Oh.
And then
So
we basically just all talked about anything but the book, and then the internet went out. So
Okay.
we're gonna do it again later. But it was really fun. It was really, really fun.
Was there enough stuff that that at least something of the episode went out?
Yeah, it basically, they do the same thing that we do. Like, what have you been up to this week?
Right.
We got through Nick, Marcus, and myself, and then it cut out.
Oh, geez.
So that's fine.
Yeah.
We'll just go back and do it again. It's good to hang out with those guys as always. So, but that's about it for me.
Okay.
What's up with chat room?
All right. Let's see. We got a fair number of folks here. Let's see who. The list is showing 152 Dominoes here. Alfred Hitchco, Altul, Avrion, Bantha Mojito, Captain and GM. Deck is here. Hey, Deck. Dizzy Brit Gaming, Evan04111, Forbes II, Fortzer, Immortalized Love, Jedi Knight 1, Lone Wolf, Merlin Swotor, Meternick, Arjar is here, Arjar75, Sludgester, Swishy, Twitchy, Starry Saber, and Tsunami Safari are all here. Hey, everyone. And Marcus is in the chat too. Hey, Marcus. Speaking of Marcus.
His ears were burning.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So, yeah, I tried to get the glasses. Hang on a sec. I got to maximize something here. There we go. I tried to get the glasses in the Nightlife event. Never did. I was really hoping for those too. Like, I like the Gonk droid. I think it's really fun, but I didn't, if I didn't get that one, it would have been okay. I got 2 of them though, of the Gonk droids. I got 2 of the Kingpin's Predators. Did you get any of those, Kitty?
Yeah, I got 1.
Okay.
But I've got like
it's pretty wild looking. Yeah, I haven't actually put it on anyone, but the preview is like really wild with like it's kind of shiny, sort of bluish green.
It looks like an Onderon pet to me, like something you'd see on Onderon.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, there's a lot of like really colorful animals there, and they would fit in there. Mm-hmm. I could see that. Never got the glasses. I really tried hard too. I noticed that like I have one character I'm leveling via PvP only. That's the idea. And once the Nightlife event stopped, it's been really hard for me to go back and do much more on her because it's like, after the Warzone is done and I'm queuing for the next one, and sometimes, it can be 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes before the next one pops, and I don't want to just sit around on the fleet, right, especially during a stream, just, giving gifts or whatever, doing emotes or whatever, something like that. Mm-hmm.
So you're going to get a weight bench, and you're going to put it in your room, and while you're waiting for PvP, you're going to work those pecs.
It'd be better than nothing, I'll tell you that. Yeah, Starry Save was saying the RNG this year was fairly bad. I think it was. I don't know what the odds were, but I have a sneaking suspicion that the odds of getting the glasses were like lower than they have been for other sort of top prizes, because a lot of people did not get them, and some people did, of course. But yeah, I mean, every time I made sure right at the end, I actually went to all my characters that I had played anytime in the last month or so, just to see if they had any Emperor's tokens hanging out on them. And I burned the few that I had. I went to the machines and everything. No luck.
I forgot to do that.
Yeah, no luck. Well, it just means you'll have the chance next time. So I
got the Gonk droid and I got so excited. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah. So for me, like one of the best things about the Nightlife event was actually having like something I could do on a PvP character without having to actually just like go out and do their class story, which would level them up.
Right.
So it's kind of made it hard because I haven't really done very much on my PvP character since it stopped, because it's like I don't really want to like just sit around and wait between pops. But whatever.
I'm trying to think of what else you could do.
Yeah,
because the Nightlife event is perfect for it.
It really is nice.
There's not
we'll figure out.
I'll
figure out something. But
I'll think too.
I'll tell you, I've got several hundred goldens, several hundred cartel certificates. I mean, I'm set on those. And I think I started out with like 50 to 80 of each of those, and I've got like 300 of one, 400 of the other. It's like,
oh, you're set.
Oh yeah, it's like
All those black
I
guys.
don't need them anymore. Yeah, I'm good on those.
You're lousy with them.
Yep. I do have a pilot character, so I have a character specifically for Galactic Starfighter. She's not a cosplay character. I took the advantage of this because I haven't played a brown Zabrak. I played very occasionally a red Zabrak for Satan in the Dark and Light Knife event. I did like a Satan character with the red Zabrak, but haven't really ever done a brown Zabrak. I found one that I actually like her looks. Took some doing, but I did find one I liked, and she is doing her class story because unlike PvP where your actual character level does matter and you actually changes how you do inside the war zones, your character level does not mean anything in Galactic Starfighter. The only thing that matters is what ships you've got unlocked and how far you've advanced them and what companions you've got, in the little co-pilot seat slots that they've got. And so I can actually do her class story while also doing Galactic Starfighter, and it's been a lot of fun. In fact, the minor advantage of actually doing your class story is it actually gives you some companions to actually put in the co-pilot seat if you want. Mostly I just throw Treek in there because she has a reasonably good defensive cooldown that's her passive, and so I just kind of go with that.
I didn't know that. I thought that the Galactic Starfighter just came with companions. I didn't.
There are generic ones. Yeah, there are generic ones, but you can change out to other ones once you acquire the right ones, and it'll show them grayed out. And then once you acquire them, you can actually get them. And some of them might not be available, or might be available like way late, like in like Osis or post Kotfi and all that sort of thing. But yeah, you can get 4X, and if you like his passive, you can, do PvP on a non-trooper character and then throw him into the co-pilot seat, that sort of thing.
Interesting.
So yeah, because and I'm not doing anything other than class story, but she is way over leveled because of Galactic Starfighter. You get a lot of experience from doing Galactic Starfighter, the daily, the weekly. There's conquest stuff as well. So it's like she's way over leveled. She's basically at the end of Act 1. She's about to start Act 2, and she's like level 51. So
you're doing it the way I do it.
Yeah, she's way over leveled. This is usually I kind of stay at level or pretty close, but with the Galactic Starfighter, she's blowing it away. I'm learning a lot about Galactic Starfighter, which I did a fair chunk of Galactic Starfighter when it first came out, and then at some point I sort of let it fall away and I just stopped playing it. And so yeah, coming back to it has been really kind of eye-opening. I'm actually really enjoying it. I did decide, since I'm doing this specifically about this one character and making her a pilot and making her my Galactic Starfighter character, I did actually spend the cartel coins to unlock the cartel coin version ships. I haven't played on them a lot yet, but they are available to me, so I'm gonna get around to all of them at some point. Right now, I've kind of picked 5 ships, and I'm kind of working on getting them geared up so that I can actually like. I like the Pike pretty well. There's I think the Nova, whatever. There's a couple of them that I like. I have tried.
Ones, or
so far it's like I like the Scouts in terms of their speed, but they're so squishy that I sort of have troubles with them. So I think the Strike Fighter is more up my alley, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So I have a couple of those that I like. I am trying a couple of Scouts, and then I have one of the gunships. I haven't tried the bombers again. They have a very I remember from playing it before, they have like a very specific sort of style of play, and you have to know when to drop your little mines, right. and I don't want to do that right now. So I'm occasionally doing the gunship, but I'm mostly sticking with Strike Fighters and Scouts for now and kitting those up as I go. Yeah, and if I play long enough, then I'll get enough of the ship the per ship wreck that when I do get to those ships finally, I'll have a really nice chunk of points that I can just grab on them. So it's going to be good and just get them semi-leveled up anyway.
And you get points for your daily login rewards.
Yes, I did go right. I went to my banking alt and I went back and found all of those login reward versions and sent them to her. And it was like, some of them are really big too. They're like a couple of thousand per ship, or like a big chunk of like 4, or I think even more thousand of a fleet wreck, which is the kind that can go on any of them, but gets used up really fast. And yeah, so that was a really nice way to sort of start her off with like at least a little bit of an edge. Like she wasn't completely in like ships that had nothing in them.
Right.
Because you definitely will feel the difference. Like you'll feel outmatched at first, not just because other people have played more and they know what they're doing, but the ships, if they're kitted out and yours aren't, there is a distinct difference. Like you need to get some points on your ships for sure. Even
in that sprint at the beginning where you're headed to whatever destination you're going to on a new ship, you'll just get dusted by your own team.
Yeah,
they're gone.
And I've noticed that like now that I've got at least partial upgrades for most of the components of the ship, it's feeling a lot better already. It's also just getting used to it and slowly remembering like how things work. Like, okay, this is how the lock on some of the first things were like, okay, this is how the missile lock on works, and this is how you boost your speed, and like what happens if you let the engine power run out, which means you basically go really slowly and then they blow you apart.
Yep. Hitting target.
And then I was reminded, oh yeah, there's like these weird keybinds that if you don't play around with it, you might not notice it, but it'll actually put the energy towards shields, weapons, or engines, or you can normalize them and make them all even. But I noticed even just today, like playing with and using those little changes, it really helps. Like start off with the engine one, so you get there faster and have more engine power pool available. Then you can, as soon as you're in combat, you can swap it to shields if you're getting attacked too much. Put it on weapons if you have them in your sights, or just put it in engines if you need the speed. You can keep it on neutral, and that's okay. But being able to swap around is really, really nice. So yeah. It's a really nice. There's only a couple of different game modes. There's the one where you have 3 satellites and you have to protect them, and your team gets points. Yeah, your team gets points based on how many of them you have. Like it just kind of accumulates points. You also accumulate points from kills. Basically, whoever controls most of the satellites most of the game wins. That's basically how that works. And then the other one is just a team deathmatch. Pretty basic, but it gives a little bit of variety. And then there are different maps. Some of them are there's the one on McKeb is kind of fun. Some of them are in space.
They're beautiful too. They're
very pretty. Yeah, very pretty. Something I have noticed is because you can rotate your ship. And I noticed like in the space ones, the true space ones, I don't really care about the orientation very much. But on McKeb, just because it has like an up and down, like clear up and down, because like there's the top of the mesas and stuff like that.
Right.
I get disoriented if my ship is upside down. I cannot fly with my ship upside down like this. I have to reorient it and put it back up.
I have to do that all the time. I can't even in all of them. I think. Well, now that you say it, I'm thinking the space ones. Maybe I am upside down half the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't feel like whatever the starting orientation is, like I have to keep it like that. Right. If I swap around, it's like I don't really mind so much. Yeah, exactly. But on McKeb, boy, I really do have to, or else I get really, really turned around. Star would love it if there was legacy ships instead of ships per character, and I tend to agree with that because like. It takes a while to upgrade your ships. It really does. Yeah. It's really kind of brutal. So
especially if you're working on multiple ships instead of just focusing on one ship.
Yeah, and you have those 5 slots. So I've just been kind of sticking with 5 ships. I played with a couple at first, but I basically locked into 5. So I don't know if these are like the best ships for me yet. Not really. I'm gonna have to wait and then try the other scouts that I haven't tried, the other strike fighters that I haven't tried, and everything, like all those. But right now, it's like if I can just kind of get to understand these ships and how because they're all a little different, like, because they have different, you can have like different abilities, different passive abilities, you can have different weapons, and sort of like there's different amounts of like ship energy and how fast your engines are and stuff like that. And they try, seems to be pretty well balanced. I mean, it doesn't feel like, anytime you see that ship, you better attack it right away because, they blow everything away. It's more about like, it really is more about like trying to figure out like what the strength of your ship is and trying to use it to its best advantage and try to minimize the weaknesses a little bit. So yeah, anyway, I've been really enjoying that. I'm still doing the Lee Van Cleef cosplay, guns only. So, no missiles, no flamethrowers. He's just using stuff that, that shoots out of his guns, basically. He's now on Prelude to Shadow of Revan. He's doing just fine. It's way easier than Unarmed Shrek was, that's for sure. And yeah, I'm liking that a lot. So
I think anything is better than Unarmed Shrek.
That took a long time to get through every bit of content. And it was brutal, but it was fun doing that too. And then I did do some PvP and some duo with Milza. Pretty basic though. Other than that, like I said, the pilot has been sort of like at least a mental focus, especially like even though I've been doing spending a lot of time on Lee Van Cleef and so on. The pilot's been really interesting. It's been really nice to get back to Galactic Starfighter. Speaking of which, the tip of the week, I've got one regarding Galactic Starfighter. So, because it takes a while for your ships to get upgraded, and until that at least partly happens, you're going to feel underpowered. Try the different ships and the different kinds of ships, especially when they're not upgraded at all. It's like at least try to figure out what kind you like, because like especially like missiles, I find are like very different. Like there's some unguided ones that are kind of short range, but if you're close, you can really do a lot of damage. There's some really long range ones, but they have some pretty long lock-on times, and for me that's kind of a deal breaker. Like if the lock-on time is really long, I have a hard time getting a missile off. So just try different stuff. Dailies and weeklies give points for every ship that you've unlocked, so spend those points, like especially the shipwreck, on unlocking other ships as quickly as possible so you can try them all, but also so that when you get those other unlocks that give you points per ship, it's per ship that you've unlocked. So unlock those ships so that when it comes time to actually try the other ships, you will have a nice little bunch of points ready to go on them. So and the dailies and the weeklies are how you get the per points for every ship ones, because it's basically the reward for finishing the daily, finishing the weekly. There are some with the daily login rewards, but that's basically how you do it. Other than that, you get points by actually playing the game, and you'll get ship points for that particular ship, basically, but you won't get points for everyone in the game. So yeah, so do go also to your banking alt, if you have one, or whatever, whoever gets all your login rewards, and go through them and try to find those login ones for the Galactic Starfighter. There are Galactic Starfighter experience boosts if you're into that. Like if you want to mostly level through Galactic Starfighter and you don't really care about anything else, you could just use the Galactic Starfighter XP boost. But it won't help anywhere else in the game. It'll just get you XP during that. Those are the kinds that are not compatible with the generic XP boost. You can't use both. Right. And so when you do go to and find those login rewards and get the ones that are points for all ships, hold off on actually using those until you've unlocked all the ships you want, because that way you get points for every ship you've unlocked.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. So unlock the ships first is kind of like the main point of the tip. Like unlock the ships and then worry about, upgrading ships later. So there you go. All right. Then we'll roll into the Mind Trap. And so we wanted to know, what about combat styles most interests you? And obviously there can be more than, a 4 at most thing, little thing in Twitter can actually do. So one of the options was other, let us know. So pairing favorite weapon with favorite class was 1. Look and cosplay was number 2. See a story with a better weapon was 3. And then other was 4. And they actually kind of ended up being in that order. So favorite weapon with favorite class was the winner with 51.7% of the votes. We had 203 votes, kind of a low to medium amount. That's just fine. For Look and Cosplay was second with 22.7%. That was actually my choice. I think for me, it's more going to be about trying to come up with characters that I can actually make now that maybe I was holding off because, like, well, they don't really use a weapon like that sort of thing. See a Story with a Better Weapon was pretty close behind it, though, at 19.2%. And then we did have a fair number of people, saying other and then kind of giving ideas. And I think the one that was probably if I had to like gel it down from the different answers that people were saying for other, that the fourth category should have been something like using the presets to make my main character do more things, basically. Because like Sotorista wants to have stealth occasionally on her main character, or healing on her character who's normally a tank, that sort of thing. And so there you go. Rick Guerrero said, I'm interested in seeing how it affects the number of available abilities and the combat ability rotation for each class. So that way you can just swap it out on a particular character and immediately, see what it is instead of having to like level up another one or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's see. I want to go through the Trooper Story with a weapon I can use at range that doesn't look crazy strapped to my back in a cutscene where I pull out a pistol. Well, exactly. Unfortunately, and the cutscenes aren't going to change, and you're still going to have that generic gray ass pistol at your side.
Right.
You will. It's just that thing is going to outlast the heat death of the universe, I swear. And Cole Bennett, sort of along the same lines, not having to log into 3 different characters. The ability to combine my Guardian, Sentinel, and Shadow under one Jedi Knight. So there you go. So some people want it, like several things, which is fine, and it would be interesting to wield lightsaber and blaster like Mara Jade. Well, we know that's not really in the cards, but it would be.
Yeah. Or like Ezra Bridger have a blaster saber.
Yeah. And and one person just isn't that interested in it. For me, combat style's not a major draw, as I have all the characters I need and I have no intention of rolling more. But I hope everyone who wants to run a blaster, rifle, bounty hunter, and all the other class mutations to have fun. So there you go. And it's not for everyone, but that's fine.
I'm thinking you and I are both altaholics. And I've been thinking about what am I going to do with all of my alts once this whole thing happens. I don't want to have to go and redo characters that I'm really not playing that often.
Right.
And I think I'm going to delete a bunch of characters.
Okay.
I don't see why I would need them. What are you going to
Yeah, I don't know.
Delete your characters? What do you do with the characters after you're done?
I've done both. I usually do. I buy character slots when I can. But if, like I don't have any cartel coins, and quite frankly, character slots on the GTN for some reason are always way overpriced. So if I don't have the cartel coins at that point in time, and recently I've had more because of that whole thing with Sotorista, like helping us out with the what do you call it, the referral thing right before it burned out. Right. So I have like a little chunk of cartel coins that I'm still burning down through. But at times when I don't have them, then I will kind of go through and I will usually delete a non-cosplay older character. Like one I haven't played that was just a regular role-playing character, not a cosplay character. Because I think the cosplay characters are kind of more fun to go through and see what I did and stuff like that. So yeah, I've kind of burned down through all of those though. So if I want a new character, I pretty much have to buy a slot at this point, or else I'm gonna have to really grit my teeth and delete someone I might actually care about.
How many slots do you have right now?
62, I think. Okay. So yeah,
we're at 58.
We're up there.
8.
Mm-hmm. We're in the same range.
As soon as they go on sale, I'm buying like 10 more.
That'd be nice. I haven't seen them on sale. If you ever see them on sale, definitely let me know because I will jump online.
You will get a text.
Okay, good.
I am hoping, because they haven't had them on sale for over a year now. I'm hoping that for the 10-year anniversary, they have some sales, around the holiday season.
That'd be cool.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely gonna buy some. I really last time they had a sale, I bought a bunch,
Mm-hmm.
and then I ended up selling them on the GTN because they were worth a lot.
Yeah,
And
they
now I'm
are.
just like, God, I'm like, damn it, why did I shouldn't have done
They
that.
are expensive
They're
on the
really
GTN.
expensive.
They're crazy. But you did get the credits.
Oh yeah.
They sold fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they sold really
that's
quick.
crazy. Yeah, because I mean they're literally like 150 or some million credits
Oh,
right now.
I think I sold this. Mine were quite a while ago.
Uh huh.
I think I got 30 million.
That's
You
still a
know.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I did one thing I did do. I didn't bother to put in the show notes, but I did go back through my crew skill raw materials, and I actually spent some time off stream because this would have been really boring to look at. But I went through my stuff, that anything that I had a fair bit of, and then I just looked on the GTN to see what its price per unit was, and and then I sold a bunch, and I'm between that and having done it before, like about a month ago, yeah, I mean, well, this last go through I got probably like 40 to 50 million just with
Nice.
selling like 8 stacks or 8 things of 1,000 whatever's each, that I'm never gonna go through 1,000 level 8 whatever's. It's just not
Right.
gonna happen. Especially since I only looked at it because I had like 4 or 5,000 to begin with, and if I have 3 or 4,000 now, it's not gonna make a difference to me. So I'd rather have the credits. So
Yeah.
they do sell
Yeah.
pretty well. I mean,
Yeah. I end up.
they do.
I've come to the realization that I spend a lot of money on companion gifts.
Mm.
I I
Okay.
cannot have my companions below 20 because then they're too slow.
Right.
Especially if it's a character. Although I'll do it if on a character that I know I'm not gonna have it around very long, or potentially
Right.
not have it around very long. But this Lana cosplay, I'm like, all right, I got to keep the Lana, and so
Yeah.
I buy millions and millions of dollars worth of companion gifts.
Yep.
Oof.
They are expensive.
What are you gonna do though, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got it, spend it.
And then any character who can use delicacies or maintenance gifts, you gotta give those. That is
Those are
still
free.
basically free, because you're
Yeah.
just getting them as a result of like failed level 11 crew skill missions, which any other expansion you just didn't get anything. It just failed and you didn't get anything. Now you're getting these blue, purple, and green.
I love it.
I call
As
it
soon as that
Jawa
happens-
junk, although they have different names for each one of them. I like the Jawa junk just because of the alliteration.
Yeah.
And yeah, and you also get some, if you have slicing, you'll get some no matter what for that, for level 11 stuff. And then you also get some when you when you delete certain items, basically when you disintegrate certain items. And most of that, basically all of that, you wouldn't have gotten before, and now it's like you're just. I've got thousands of those raw materials, and I turn them into gifts all the time. So
too.
yeah, maintenance gifts are great because like every character has the ship companion. The ship companion loves them. A lot of other companions are available.
Right.
You can also, any of the cartel market companions, the droids all like maintenance, and the animals, the act dogs, and everything like that, they all like delicacies. So that's super easy and works really well.
And also, by the time you're done with Kotfi and Kotet, you can have both of those droids, the ship droids. So
that's right. You can get both the ship
you can
droids.
just pop them up to 50, and you got 2 characters or 2 companions there that you can just send out, get stuff.
Yeah. Everyone can get 4X on the Republic
free.
side. Yeah. There's also like, I'm also noticing like certain regular companions, and like I'm trying to note when like any regular companion likes them. So for example, like everyone gets T7 from Kopfi Kotet. Doesn't matter what class you were, and he likes maintenance just fine. Eric Jorgen actually likes delicacies. He's not at a super high level, but enough. And it's like, whatever, I'll still give it to him. It's because they're so cheap. It's like I've got thousands of these green ones I can just give away.
Take them.
Yeah, exactly. Because my pilot character is a trooper. She's going through the trooper story. She's got Eric Jorgen. I just got a like 4,000 or something like that, green delicacy gifts, and I'm just giving it to him whenever I get a chance, and he's getting through the levels just fine.
Yeah,
they're all rank 6, so they don't really go down very much at all until until it gets really high. So anyway, all right, I think it's time to get on to the Holo Feed news here. Because our last episode was like right at the beginning of the month, they hadn't come out with the list of what was coming out with, what events were coming up in the month. So this sometimes happens. So we're basically like at the point where we know what's happening in August, but half of it has already happened. So the things that happened were the nightlife event, but that ended August 10th, and we've already talked about it. So I think we're good on that. And I can't wait for it to come back next year. It's like, even though I was kind of disappointed that I didn't get the goggles, the special see-through glasses you can actually see through, which I think is a really nice effect. I'm presuming usually what they do is like whatever the last year's super primo stuff was, it becomes like available to get from using the cartel certificate, right. or the hut certificates, or whatever they're called, the golden certificates. Thank you. Was that my brain? Was I thanking my own brain? Anyway. Yeah, so anyway, I'm looking forward to next year and hopefully actually getting it. Because, like, it'd be fun to do like, because it's like a really fancy goggles, and I don't know. It's just, I think they look really fun. Do like a disco cosplay or something.
Anyone that may have a 3D printer and wants to cosplay some of the nightlife goggles for chill, maybe that's something to consider.
That's funny. Are there 3D printers that print, like, see-through stuff?
I'm sure you could do something. I mean, I know that there's ski goggles that have that kind of look to them.
Nice.
Make it happen.
Let's see. The bounty contract week was this last week. It finished up, right before today's episode. So that was this last week. But at least we got one event coming up in the rest of August that actually will still be happening. The All Worlds Ultimate Swoop Rally is coming back, and that is coming back from the August 24th to the August 31st, and requires level 20 plus, and then you go to the different places. We talked a lot about this when it first came out, but basically, yeah, there's 3 different types of swoop gangs, and you can get different like reputations with each of them, and do the races and missions and stories and all kinds of stuff. Good stuff.
And it has one of the best tacticals, in my opinion, in the game.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it so that your mount speed is increased by some crazy amount for the first couple seconds that you get on a mount.
Oh, okay.
Ducky from Utini,
mm-hmm.
he had it and he was showing it off to me, and I was like, I wasn't doing the swoop event, and he's like, yeah, look at this, and I'm like, I gotta do the swoop event now.
Well, now I've got to do it. Well, it's coming up, so
I gotta do it.
So the 24th through the 31st, that'll be your time to do it. They also put out an article called "Separating Story from Gameplay," and it's basically about combat styles. So they wanted to give a little bit of a general article about combat styles to give people an idea of what's going on. When we first developed SWTOR, one of our goals was to enable players to create custom characters that reflected the ones you knew and loved from the Star Wars galaxy. So when we designed our 8 player classes, we tied each of them to the styles of combat we felt matched them best. For example, bounty hunters can fight with 2 blaster pistols like Jango Fett. Troopers use blaster rifles like clone troopers, and so on. In gameplay terms, these options are your character's class and advanced class, with each class having access to only 2 advanced classes. Over the years, more and more of the combat gameplay options in SWTOR have shifted out of the classes and into the advanced classes. And while advanced classes used to be selected after your character had gained a few levels, now they're an integral part of the initial character creation. Your advanced class is what primarily decides your combat gameplay, while your class is almost entirely about your character's voice and storyline. While the current array of class and advanced class options allows you to create characters resembling many of your favorite characters, they don't cover all of the most popular character/combat combinations from other Star Wars media. Boba Fett is a bounty hunter who primarily uses a rifle. Captain Rex is a soldier who fights with 2 pistols, and so on. So wouldn't it be great if SWTOR let you create and customize these awesome characters and more? For Legacy of the Sith, our goal is to do just that. Skipping down a bit. So classes will become origin stories, embodying your character's voice, background, and where their story begins in the Old Republic. And then advanced classes will become combat styles, which determines how your character fights from level 1 and beyond. There's still there's still 2 limitations on which combat styles are available to which origin stories. If your character has a blaster-wielding origin story, trooper, bounty hunter, smuggler, or agent, they will have access to only the tech combat styles: Vanguard, Commando, Power Guard, Mercenary, Scoundrel, Gunslinger, Operative, and Sniper. I almost said that right. If your character has a Force-based origin story, Jedi Knight, Jedi Consular, Sith Warrior, or Sith Inquisitor, they will initially only have access to other Force-based combat styles that match their faction's overall alignment. So Jedi Knights and Consulars will be able to choose between Guardian, Sentinel, Sage, or Shadow combat styles at level 1. Sith Warriors and Sith Inquisitors will be able to choose between Juggernaut, Marauder, Sorcerer, or Assassin combat styles at level 1. If your character's choices lead them away from their faction's alignment and down the path of the light or the dark side, they will eventually unlock the option to pick the other faction's combat styles in addition to their own, which is pretty cool. And I like that because that feels appropriate.
Choices matter.
Where choices matter, especially when it comes to the Force. I think that makes sense. You know, they could have done a similar restriction, but what would be the point of not letting a trooper have a sniper rifle? You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
Okay, maybe it's a little weird if a smuggler is using a sniper rifle, but like, really, is it that big a deal? So
I don't think it matters. I mean, if it's if that's something that you want to play on that type of character, then go for it.
Right.
I mean, the only reason that it's weird is because we haven't had the option to do it.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to it.
So when you make a new character, you'll first choose your origin story, which is basically now the base class. It's going to be called Origin Story, and then your combat style, which is the advanced class right now. This offers you the choice up front so you can start your journey with a play and style combination that works for the type of character you want to play. And I would say, like, if you eventually, like, if you want to be a lightning throwing Jedi, you know, you should start off with the same abilities and just do the Sage, you know what I mean? Like do the same abilities so that when you do switch, you won't have to, like, you know, change all the abilities in your head.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like
they're all different.
You don't want to go from you don't want to go from like
names.
Shadow over to Sorcerer, or you know what I mean. You don't want to do like Guardian and then to Sorcerer. That's just me though. You could actually do it. You could totally do that if you wanted to.
But
and maybe there would be people who have that idea, like, you know, they start off as a knight, you know, with a saber in hand, but when they become dark, they want to use the lightning all the time. You know, that's totally. From a story point of view, that's totally awesome. That'd be completely awesome, actually. But just realize that you're making it harder on yourself as far as gameplay goes, because you're gonna have to switch all your abilities completely over.
Yeah,
anyway,
my favorite character is Sentinel, and I don't know the names of the abilities. You know, and with the icons looking different when I play a Marauder, I'm like, okay. I know when I push the button what they do, but I don't know the names of them. Right. So that sounds like a nightmare to me.
Yeah, Deck. I don't know how they're going to be doing the cutscenes. It's going to be a little bit easier for the tech classes because in most of the scenes, a lot of the characters have, if they don't already wield a pistol, they just sort of generically have a pistol if they need to like shoot someone in a cutscene. So the tech ones should be a little easier, but yeah, a lot of times people are using, like, they pull out their dual saber and then they cut down a hut or whatever. It's going to be tricky. I guess they're working on that. I guess they're working on that. I don't think anything like that's been in the PTS as far as I can tell. So hopefully they're working on that, because it's definitely going to be an issue. If you create a boosted character, you'll choose your origin story and then combat style in a similar way to the new character creation. If you have an existing character, when Legacy of the Sith launches, then when you log into the game, you'll be able to choose a combat style immediately. You can choose a combat style similar to your previous advanced class or choose something new, and then the choice will be yours. So there you go. So it's not like, you know, old characters are locked out of this or anything like that. Old characters will be just as open to this possibility as everyone else. So that's good to know. because that was a question. Like, some people were wondering, like, is this something that's so different that like older characters are just going to be kind of locked out of it? Nope, they figured out a way. So yeah, this basically confirms what we've been saying here on the show, but I'm glad that they've said it, come out and said it in so many words. So basically, they are chopping apart the class and the advanced class. You can now change your advanced class, more or less mix it to whatever class you want. We've talked about the limitations, but yeah, and that's how it's going to work. And just to remind everyone, like, the advanced class, which is now combat styles, that is in fact like going to act like advanced class. Like, if you choose a combat style that uses a dual saber, you will use a dual saber. You're not going to use dual-handed lightsabers. You won't use a single lightsaber and a focus. Nothing like that. If you choose that combat style, you are choosing that weapon style as well, for sure. Yeah, so good stuff.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it would take too long. We'd be seeing the expansion in 3 years, man. If they had to do mix up everything. Jedi Sentinel feedback. So Jackie put some information on about sort of the updated test server about the Jedi Guardian. So they appreciate everyone who's been giving constructive feedback and answering the questions on the thread. So, as we've expressed in the past, these ability paths are not set in stone. They just put out, the way they sort of have it in the, one possibility, and they're seeing how, they're throwing the spaghetti against the wall and seeing if it sticks, basically. Right. This is why we allow access to players this early in development, so we can receive feedback and ensure that we're building a solid foundation for future content. Here are the common sentiments that we're seeing. 1, this does not feel like a Sentinel if players must choose between Blade Blitz, Transcendence, and Force Camouflage. And that did seem to be, like, I've seen a lot of, like, tweets and other sort of articles and stuff like that about, like, especially this one particular choice. Like, you get to a certain level and you have to choose between Blade Blitz, Transcendence, and Force Camo. And those are all really, like, pretty iconic abilities for a Sentinel. Yeah. So the absence of force stasis and awe is very noticeable. So, the lack of the hard CC was noticeable, and mobility and speed are vital to Sentinel, which makes sense. I mean, they have the most jumps.
You need them.
Yeah, exactly. And without Blade Blitz, that's one less mobility ability you have. Like if you decide you really want the Force Camo or the Transcendence.
I think this would be a good time for BioWare to change it to Force Skedaddle. Make it, let's make it a permanent thing. Because it's funnier. Maybe a whoop, 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 when you're, anyway.
Right.
Sorry.
I do think that they are, part of this is they are definitely trying to reduce the number of abilities in the game, because, like, there is a big ability bloat, and they're trying to figure out ways to, there's different ways to do it. One is you can always chop an ability out of the game completely. Like, if it's kind of duplicating what something else is doing, you can just chop it out of the game. That's one possibility. Another one is that you mix it, especially if they're like utilities. You can kind of like take the one that slows them and also make it a healing debuff, and that way you don't have to have two abilities. You just have one. It's only going to do it's going to do those two things at the same time. So if there's a cooldown, it's a little different, but still, at least both of the utility ability, both of those effects are in the game still. And then the third one would be kind of this sort of thing where they're making you choose between different abilities. And unfortunately, this one kind of feels the worst because, like, especially, like, it would be ironically be different if, like, this was a brand new game and you hadn't ever experienced it before. Having a character that having all three of those abilities you wouldn't know what that felt like. But since we all do, it does feel a little rough to actually take three kind of pretty serious abilities. So,
very important.
These are pretty classic abilities. Blade Blitz, when it was added to the game, like, everyone was Blade Blitzing everywhere, and Transcendence, is the one where you get the heals back, and then Force Camo is like Transcendence, is that the speed thing? That's the speed thing, isn't
speed
it?
Thing.
The Transcendence is the speed thing, and then Force Camo is the invisibility. The reason I was thinking of the healing thing is when they did the other one in your and whatever it's called on the other side is the healing thing, and that got chosen, and you could be chosen away and kind of ignored or lost, and that one would feel really weird to lose too on like a Juggernaut.
I think if any of those, Force Camouflage would be the one I would lose because I was playing PvP on my Sentinel today, and I was using Blade Blitz and Transcendence all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes Blade Blitz wasn't used as an attack. It was used to,
as a mobility
get the
thing.
hell out of dodge.
Right.
But I it's my favorite class to play, and I just hope they don't nerf it too bad. Or, like you said, combining some of the passives would be a great way to do it.
Yes, because some of those utility abilities really, you could definitely put them with other things, and it would work pretty well. Mm-hmm. They've kind of done that in the past too. I mean, you've definitely seen where like you could choose a utility point where now your awe does something else. Once the initial effect is worn off, now it also slows them and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Anyway. They did see a few comments about the mount being provided being too slow because character copies not available at this time. Legacy perks are not carried over, and therefore speeder piloting 4 and 5 are not available, which is just a test server thing. It really is.
Right. I heard that it was. I heard that it was slower than walking. It was like the log mount.
That's funny. I don't know about that, but she did actually make sure that people knew where to get the mount, because I guess not everyone was even 100% sure where you get to mount speed 3. So what you do is it's granted via the Onderon daily board, which is kind of where they've been sending people to have them test things out. Starting the daily quest line will give you a companion, the mount, and level 3 speeder piloting. And then she'll be updating the original post. So there you go. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see like how much they're able to sort of like wiggle this, and like how determined are they to sort of pare down the amount of abilities in the game. I guess we're going to see what their plans are going forward, because I definitely feel like most classes I think have a pretty big ability bloat. There's one or two where it feels actually okay already. There's some where it's just like, even at an early level, I have like everything. I have like all my bars filled up, and it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And one thing that would work is the next bit here. So Teresa had put out a couple of YouTube and written guides detailing how to play SWTOR with a controller. And one thing that would be as busy as controllers are nowadays, with like all the different all the different buttons available on all the different spots, it's still not quite exactly a keyboard layout. So if we do reduce it, it'll help people who want to play with a controller for sure. So Sorterista put out a YouTube and written guide this week. One is about playing with a controller if you do SWTOR through Steam, and then there's one if you don't do it through Steam, because there's a different like program you can use that will sort of aid with access, basically. So she put out both a YouTube version and just a written out version, so you could do it whichever way matches your style of learning, basically, or how you want to if you want to try to install it and follow along, if you want to do it with a video, or do you want to do it with like a written out bit, which is pretty awesome. Yeah.
You're gonna need them.
Right, exactly. So, and Switch even said, regarding the ability bloat, you'll have a max of 40 combat abilities, so if you find it important to keybind every side item or mount, I can't help you much. Technically, you can keybind switching quick bars, which might help. So there you go. So thank you, Sorterisa. That's pretty awesome, because there's a lot, and I even wrote back to her on Twitter saying exactly this. Like, there are people who like they are used to gaming with controllers. They're not really used to the keyboard mouse thing. They've played with Xboxes and PlayStations and Wiis and whatever else, throughout their life, and they haven't done a lot of PC gaming. and they would definitely feel more comfortable with the controller. And there's also people who just, have physical limitations where maybe a keyboard and mouse really isn't their best setup, and a controller might be better for them. So there you go. I think that's really awesome. All right.
I couldn't imagine doing it.
Yeah. Oh, like what? Playing with a controller?
Having the controller.
I would have a hard time too. But then I've played with a Nostromo basically since day one. So
right,
and I really love it. So
interesting though is that being left-handed,
mm-hmm.
this isn't SWTOR's problem, but some games, especially when they first come out, you sometimes can't rebind the keys, meaning that I would have to play with a standard keyboard setting, which I can't do as left-handed.
Yeah,
it messes everything up. So playing with a controller, like I got a Red Dead Redemption 2, and I tried playing it on the keyboard, and I can't do it because I couldn't reset the key bindings to the way I liked them. So I was going to play through that on a controller. So
yeah,
who knows? Maybe if it works that way, maybe someone else that is controller savvy can do it. Maybe they have the that addition to the controller that's basically a keyboard. So they'd have their controllers and a keyboard. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. And I know with the Nostromo, I set the keybinds in SWTOR itself, and then I match the Nostromo to make it the way I want on the Nostromo itself. So so I've got a fair bit of flexibility, and I can change things if I really need to. Although at this point, with SWTOR, I've long since locked it in, especially in my muscle memory, and changing it would actually pretty much stink.
Life, Jill.
Yeah,
for the rest of your life, we're gonna be remembering.
Yeah, exactly. Tick, 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 tick. Nope, thumb is shift. The thumb button is shift.
We're 90 and senile and try to use our chairs to.
Yeah, and Fortune is saying controller with Galactic Starfighter would be interesting to try, and it might.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, with Starfighter, the mouse is used to turn and to target as well. So you'd have to use some sort of thumb joystick, I would imagine, and it might work really well though. I imagine, or maybe you could even use if your controller has motion detection, you might even be able to do that as well. I don't know. It would be fun to try though. It's a really cool idea.
Or maybe in the future they'll have the Stephen Hawking cursor that moves by his
with the eyeballs. Yeah,
you just be like
boop, 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 boop. Yep. Yeah, it's funny. I've seen people do special streams where they try something like that, because there's different. There is, like you're saying, for people who have severe physical disabilities, but there's also programs that do it just for other reasons. There's marketers who want to learn what is drawing people's attention and people's eyes, and they have that sort of setup as well. And so some streamers have done streams and you can actually see okay, this is how a pro gamer plays the game that you like. It's this is what they're looking at. It's back to the minimap, back to the minimap, back to the minimap, back to the minimap. You see, it's okay, this is one reason why they play at a better level than I do, because they're constantly learning. They know exactly where to get the most information out of the game as fast as possible, and they're literally looking at the minimap half the time, that sort of thing. So yeah. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool seeing. So if you look at YouTube, you can find videos of people playing with eye tracking for different reasons and stuff like that too. Let's see. Since the last show, actually this just happened a day or two ago. Charles Boyd's Kotor Vibro Sword. So he tweeted out, "I just got this incredible all metal repro of a Kotor Vibro Sword over the weekend from Lord Joseph on Instagram. Pics don't do it justice. A totally unique and beautiful piece I'm honored to have in my collection." And he put out 3 different pictures, and I put them all in our show notes. Really cool. Very cool. And you'll recognize that too. And actually, the SWTOR Classic Vibro Sword is very much along these lines as well. Not quite. There's some differences, but it's really similar to this one. And yeah, so really, really cool Kotor Vibro sword. So that is really awesome.
That thing is so cool looking.
Yeah.
So, this blade will kill.
Yeah, and I like how in SWTOR, like some of these actually extend. You know, when you draw them, they actually drink. They just go out a little further. It's like, okay, not sure what the point is, but
3 inches on the
yeah, exactly. Okay. Woohoo! But yeah, it's really, really nice. So yeah, really cool. Really beautiful. So. And finally, yeah, the Bad Batch season finale is out, so it sounded like you wanted to talk about that, Kitty. I'm happy to talk about it, too. I did see the Bad Batch season finale.
Yeah, I don't want to give any spoilers, but I really liked it. I think that one of the things about the Bad Batch that I found jaw-dropping was the art. It's so gorgeous. It's so beautiful. And I was watching episode 3 the other day, and some of the set pieces in Bad Batch look better than the set pieces in episode 3.
Oh, you mean when they do that parallel thing where you see what's going? That's right. The bit of the story where they go back over the rollover from the Republic to the Empire, and then you see it in Clone Wars, and and they're paralleling it, or they're even reproducing it. They did a fine job on that. That was really cool. I know exactly the scene you're talking about.
I'm just stoked that there's going to be a second season, and I don't want to say any spoilers yet, but if you haven't seen it and you're a Star Wars fan, you go check it out. It's great.
Yeah,
it's fun.
I liked it. I don't think I liked it as much as you did. I felt it felt like a good episode. It didn't really feel to me like a season ending episode. Mm-hmm. Like usually, I think, especially Filoni, like he does a really good job of like making sure that these story beats happen like at the end of seasons and certain other times when it's like, you know, they kind of build up. This one, it felt like it was the kind of the wrap up of what was happening, but didn't really feel to me like the end of like a season. Like it wasn't quite that. It didn't feel that big to me.
I get that. I get that.
I liked the episode fine, and I did like the. I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but I like the tail end where you sort of see some of the bigger ramifications of what's going on, and you see some of like, oh, okay, they might be indicating what's happening in this movie or that movie, that sort of, you know, later on.
Right.
Good stuff, and that was pretty cool. But to me, it just didn't feel very big. Like it felt like the second part of a 2-part episode, which it also was, because it that's what they did.
Yeah, because it literally
they literally did the finale as like a part 1 and part 2, but it just felt like the end of a regular episode. But other than that, I liked it. I thought it was fine, and it was fun.
I have a feeling that this is going to be one of those shows that once it's done and you go and rewatch it, it's going to be much better as a whole instead of watching it in little parts.
Yeah.
And again, I'm just blown away by how gorgeous it was.
Yeah, they did a really good job on that, and the voice acting is all really solid. Yeah. Of course, the guy who does like everyone in the Bad Batch is really awesome. Because
he does everyone.
He does a fine job of making sure that they all sound different. So I think that's right. That sounds right anyway. Yeah. Forcher also says the trailer for the Japanese studio Star Wars anime looks cool. Yeah, that just came out too. I forgot to put that in the show notes, but yeah, that's really pretty. It'll be interesting to see what they're doing with it. There were a lot of lightsabers, so whatever part of the history of the Star Wars galaxy they're doing, it's gonna, you know, it's got to be some point in history with a lot of lightsabers, because they really like to have lightsabers involved.
I don't think it's gonna be like canon. I think it's just like random stories.
Yeah, and
who knows?
It could be.
Some of them just looked like.
It's kind of like the Marvel What If series that just started up.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Which is like, they could make it canon, but they could also just leave it completely on its own. It's like, hey, here's just a fun story, and we'll never reference. You know, it's never going to be canon, but it's fun to watch or whatever.
Yeah, but I do want a lightsaber umbrella. I think that's a must-have.
Yeah, good stuff. So yeah, lots to look forward to. Yeah, season 2 will be coming out. Did they say when? I don't remember if they said when actually.
I don't know.
But it'll probably be, it has to be a little while because obviously it takes some time to work on these things. But yeah, I'll definitely be watching season 2 as well. So, all right. Anything else, Kitty?
One more thing for Ootinies and non-Ootinies as well. Just a heads up that Ducky wanted me to kind of say, just a reminder that Duck Hunt is going to be next month on the 25th.
25th, so late September. Oh, that's right. That'll be right before the end of Galactic Season 1 then. So there we go. There we go. All right, then. That's a show. If you'd like to play with us in the Ootini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Cecile Sean server, or in our
Ootini Rage
Guild on the Empire side, do /C join Ootini to join the Ootini channel. Then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to OotiniCast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @OotiniCast. You can find contact details for us on our website, OotiniCast.com. This really is a 420 show, apparently, even though I haven't taken anything, which includes how to subscribe to us using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. We record the show live bi-weekly on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific. Go to OotiniCast.com/live to find out how to join in. Our theme song is Doomsday by Jean-Paul Zogby. I love that name, by the way. I don't say that often enough. I love that freaking name, Jean-Paul Zogby. Thank you to the chat room.
Thank you, chat.
All right, and we'll see you next show. All right, so what we'll do is I'll keep the stream going so that we can actually raid someone. And let's see, and I got to get over to the dashboard or else it won't let me do it.
Marcus is on.
Manage the stream. Oh, if he's, yeah, we could do that. Where is it? Raid.
He's rocking out.
Excellent. Let's see. There he is. Let's raid, baby. So thank you for coming. Yeah, so this version, the raw version of the show, goes out on YouTube today, and then I edit the audio, and it will go out as a finished podcast tomorrow. And here we go.
Hey, everybody.
All right. And since we've raided, I'm stopping the stream and stopping the recording.